Well, okay, guys. Have another R plus to talk about today. Today it's a 2v2. The teams are Volskinator and Ruck versus Shab and Partisan Eagle. So it's a fairly balanced matchup, I think. Um, but again, as I said before, balance of the game is not really the concern when we're analyzing R plus. We just want to see that opening engagement and see how it turns out. And today we'll go ahead and be looking at Rug's perspective on this matter. And let's see how things turn out then, right? So starting columns and such, fog was on, and it does look like, I want to say this, it does look like Rug is not using full pop, obviously. And for an R plus start, I actually really like this. You'll notice he's taking advantage of a unit only Airborne has, the M20 Recon or Armored Utility Car. And you'll notice it has a lot of sight range. It costs a lot of manpower. You're paying a lot of manpower to get the sight range, but he is bringing it on early. He's taking full advantage of it. So that's something that's really good. And he's bringing on an airborne rifle squad just come in behind him, take some territory, and maybe do some early engagement if possible, right? But I do like this. I like this a lot. I've mentioned this in the introduction video. When you're not sure what your opponent is bringing, it's always a good idea to start with some form of recon unit. Now this is a pretty expensive recon unit. It's 4 pop, but it has a lot of sight range to compensate for taking twice the pop that our Jeep takes. So let's see what he spots, which is the first thing you want to do in R+, figure out what your opponent brings, and let's see what, once he spots his opponent, uh, what will he bring to counter what he sees his opponent bringing. So we'll keep watching. So, moving ahead, I would guess that he's going to find his opponent around this central area, right? Maybe a bit above, depending on how aggressive they are. But it doesn't matter. You should be able to spot them pretty quickly and pretty easily with an M20 due to the sight range that it does have. So, okay, here we go. We got initial engagement. He's still scouting out. Doesn't see much else. Okay, so at this point, we know now that Rug is an airborne player, right? He already sees a martyr and a Schwimm, so that's 8 pop, so it's not a lot, but he has an idea, okay, there's a martyr on field. And there are a couple of ways you can go with this, right? When you see that martyr on field, you always think, okay, so that's an AT source. So right now, the only thing that martyr can really do anything about right now is the M20. And with the sight range that the M20 has, it's going to be pretty hard for that martyr to cash that M20 out. So if you're Rug, at this point, you're probably thinking, okay, I see a martyr and I see a Schwimm, so that's 8 pop. That really is. I mean, the Shroom is the counter is gonna be important, right? But once it comes down to the combat phase of this R plus game, that Shroom becomes a bit less important. But that martyr. So if I were Rug, my next column would be something to mitigate the effect of that martyr. There are two ways. I could either try and kill the martyr, bring on some RRs, or maybe even a Chaffee, depending on what else I scout. Because the Chaffee 1v1 with the martyr, the Chaffee will probably win if it's built to just circle strafe that martyr. And then option 2 is just to bring on a bunch of infantry, right? To make that 6 pop martyr basically useless. So let's see what option 1 takes. He's still scouting out, which is nice. He's trying to get behind, so I'm guessing he's trying to see what. No, he's just stopping here. As these, I guess these airborne rifles come up. As you can see, he hasn't called any. Okay, so he's got his first column coming on. It's an airborne column of some sort, right? Because it's taken the full 30 seconds. Let's see what he decides to bring on. In the meanwhile, he's scanning his M20, which is good. You want to get more information because you did not get full information from just seeing that martyr and Schwimm.
Baker at the ready. Where we headed? Always ready.
Airborne rifle stop here. So we see munitions half back, so that's another 2 pop. So, and it's Partisan Jaeger, so it probably is Scorched Earth. So I suspect that there's probably a minefield somewhere around here. And we appear to have our first airborne columns, both coming in down over here. Let's see what they are. Okay. So we just saw 2 pre-gun squads right here from this airborne rifle squad. So we have 10 pop, 6 pop, 8 pop, 10 pop. So we've got 20 pops. There's still 5 pop probably floating around somewhere. Maybe another P-gun squad. Probably another P-gun squad at 5 pop in a PE company. Maybe a 50 mil. I don't see why you'd bring 50 mil when you already have this martyr on. But it could be anything. 5 pop, there's a lot of things that you can do with 5 pop, but my supposition would be it's a third Pregrin squad. But we see 2 Pregrin squads over here, and I bet 3 Pregrin squad with G43, so this is a dangerous target right here. So this is what makes things really interesting. Rug has already used his full pop. He's at 25 out of 25 pop, so he can't bring in anything else. This Martyr here, he appears to have called on this RR squad to kill this Martyr. So he looked for the early easy kill on this Martyr. But this Vet3 G43 squad is something that's going to have to be dealt with, because a vanilla airborne rifle squad will downright lose to this unless you get like a grenade in there or something like that, right? So this RR squad may actually be a slight liability, I see at this point, but you know, only slight. I mean, this RR squad, if it's even got a grenade on it, it's absolutely fine in this situation because it can support your airborne rifle and whatever else is coming down here. I'm not sure what this is yet. I'm assuming another RR squad. But if it is 2 RR squads, we might have a bit of trouble because this single airborne rifle squad with this M20 probably will not be enough to deal with this G43 squad plus the Pregrin squad, maybe the third Pregrin squad somewhere in this fog of war. But let's see what happens. So okay, so the last 5 up is a Panzer discard Panzer tank cluster squad. We got spotted up on M20. And these airborne rifles are trying really hard to disengage from these P-guns because they've got the munitions half-track buff nearby as well, so they're going to do a lot of damage. There's a second airborne rifle squad here, so if they can get some good nades, they can actually win this engagement. But this bar rifle squad, okay, yeah, if this airborne rifle squad gets into this engagement, this is definitely a winnable engagement. But it needs to get there fast, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. We got suppression fire being popped off with these Panzer Grenadiers. See this grenade. I'm gonna say that's the first mistake of this engagement. I like what Rug did. He had good scouting. He called on a decent composition, like 1 piece of anti-tank for this Martyr and half-track, and then three airborne rifle squads, right? Although this was dropped a bit far away from the engagement, but that's a minor thing. You can't really dictate where the airborne squads drop because the airborne squads do have a drift factor, right? So it might have entirely been he called it down over here, which is fairly close to this engagement area, but it just drifted over here. So I can't really blame him for that. But what I can blame him for is throwing this grenade at this tank buster squad. The only thing this tank buster squad, Panzerschreck here, is a real issue in engaging is this M20, and it's probably never going to reach an M20. That grenade really should be thrown at this Vet3 Panzer Grenadier squad, because twofold. Number one, it's the most dangerous thing here, right? This Vet3 Panzer Grenadier squad, especially since this squad is suppression now from suppression fire, can easily solo both these airborne rifle squads. Easily. And it's got the munition half-track aura coming far behind it as well, and this extra Panzer Grenadier squad. This is the when you have 2 infantry squads here. This is the least concerning aspect of this engagement right now, right? This is the most concerning. Right, these 2 are better targets than this tank buster squad here. So these grenades really should be going at this target, right? Because if you can get this off the field, you can do more damage to these 2 squads versus if you try and get this off the field and then you lose both these squads to the combination of the P-Grins and the vanilla P-Grins. Let's see what happens. So as you can see, these Panzer Grenadiers are racking up the kills. They're at 3 already. These airborne coming behind trying to get this Martyr or this munitions half-track. These G43s are still doing work. And these RRs are falling back because they see these P-Grins shifting over. So the grenade does come in, it does minimal damage, so that's unfortunate. And this squad is now Vet 4. So this is a Vet 4 P-Grin squad you're dealing with right here. It's gonna basically be a real pain in the ass to deal with. You can't drop some bodies. And so that's 11 kills in that P-Grin squad. So that was a pretty bad opening engagement. Despite what I thought, Rug brought in the right stuff. He took the right actions. Just his failure to be able to use these bar airborne rifles here, along with that first nade being on probably the wrong target, it probably did not help that engagement over there. But he's bringing on more airborne rifles, so because he sees obviously the main threat here is these Panzer Grenadiers, right? So he needs to count these Panzer Grenadiers. So some more airborne rifles is the correct choice, I feel like. And these bar rifles do need to start moving over here whenever possible in this engagement. So the question now is, he sees everything, and here's the thing, he's got good scouting, so I don't really need to pause because his engagement maneuvers are because he's got plenty of engagement maneuvers, right? Because the main thing, let's talk real fast because we're in the last 30 seconds or so of this R+. So why am I not pausing for engagement maneuvers? Well, the main thing is he can engage from almost any direction. you could say, because two reasons why. Number one, he's airborne, so he can drop in any area, right? So he can come in from multiple directions. But number two, it's this P-gun has used a suppression fire, so there's really no suppression risk. And PE, there's no scout car, there's no like scorched earth MG, so he really can't come in from any direction with every target except this, right? He needs to watch for the martyr with his M20. Although it does have some anti-infantry capabilities with the 50 cal it has equipped on top. But yeah, I mean, even if he engages with this pop level right now, he's got 5 pops, so he's probably dropping in another airborne rifle squad, as you see up here, probably around here somewhere. But depending on where he drops it, all he has to do really is, because these P-guns are injured at this point, and all he has to do is just come in from both these flanks, like up here along this. Oh, let me put this up now. So we see this. So all he really needs to do is, like, he's got this airborne. He can hold these guys back probably for a little bit, right? But looking at the map, what we see, all he has to do is basically bring this squad in over this direction, because it's really fine. Maybe you want to avoid the red cover. We're assuming these guys all have nades here, and then if he drops his airborne rifle squad somewhere around here, he's going to have a 3-directional attack, right? And if these airborne down here with the R's also have grenades, he can basically overwhelm the opponent has. Because he just keeps bringing on more infantry. He keeps bringing on more infantry. He keeps bringing on more infantry. That 6 pops from that martyr is still basically useless, right? That martyr is useless right now because it's not going to kill any infantry significantly, right? You can try and bring out this M20 car, but again, because of the sight range this thing has, it's going to be really hard for that martyr to really get engagements on. This munition half-track is a force multiplier, but it's only force multiplying basically 2 squads plus this, but this squad's down to just 1 rifle. So, I mean, I would say at this point, Rug's got a pretty decent chance at winning this engagement. All he's got to do is, as soon as that 15 seconds from now, as soon as that next airborne rifle squad, I assume it's going to be airborne rifle squad, drops down, he just has to engage with all his squads because his bar is going to do plenty of work, a grenade from these 2 squads will do plenty of work, and that 3rd airborne rifle squad will do plenty of work once it comes down. So let's see what comes down and what he does. So he's starting, I don't like that a lot. He's starting with the airborne with the RR squad rather than the normal vanilla airborne rifle squad. But it did have a grenade, and he's using it on a decent target. These G43 are down to 3 men, so all he has to do is land 1 good grenade on this, and then he's probably won this engagement. Just 1 good grenade on either of these squads, and he's going to win this engagement. So here's the grenade, and Partisan is a bit late to react, so he loses 2 bodies on this, so this 11 kill P-gun squad is going to be off-field. And here we go, and at this point, we see him starting to pull back. So you think, why is he pulling back? And why is he pulling back? Why is he not finishing off this martyr? Why is he not finishing off this Panzergrenadier? Well, look at the clock. It's 4:16. The second players are on, right? So you could risk the time to kill a Panzerschreck here, right? But in return for that Panzerschreck, turns out the second player is going to come on with a full 25 pop Cullen and wipe this out. So it's probably not worth staying here to engage, right? So Rug's making the right call here, right? He won this initial engagement. He won the secondary engagement here with these 2 P-guns getting forced off. He killed I think that's munitions half-track he killed off. And he's got this Shrek squad at half health, and his martyr is taking some damage as well, while still being basically unuseful due to his composition with mostly infantry. So that's basically the end of this R+. And here's one thing that's really important that some people may question. During this process, Rug lost 2 full airborne rifle squads, right? And he took a body loss in this airborne rifle squad as well. And meanwhile, those Panzergrens, that 1 Panzergren squad had 11 kills on it, right? Even this Tankway squad's only got a couple of kills. So if you're looking at KDR, in terms of attrition, Partizan did get better, kill rate on his units, right? But I think what's really important is the thing about R+ is not necessarily about getting KDR. It's about getting field position and tempo for your team. So even though Rug probably lost way more units in these engagements, he lost like 13, 15 bodies, right? Versus the 8 bodies that about 8 to 10 bodies that party lost, right? So he's basically still running at 1.5 KDR. Look at this field position. You normally expect field position in a forest to be split along this line. Someone either has the church or not, and then it's going to be split along again to the side of this house. And this is usually the field position you see in forest, right? This is where the split usually is. And look at how far ahead of the split Rug has the line, right? So versus the normal split you see on the map around this line down here, he's got the line pushed all the way up here basically, right? And that's a big deal. Even though you lost more bodies, uh, the Allied team has way more tempo due to the aggressiveness of Rug here. So he lost more bodies, but think about it, he took out that with just grenade riflemen basically. He took out that vet 4 P-gun squad off the field. He got that munitions half track down, took another P-gun squad out. He reduced the efficacy of this Panzerstück squad, and he kept basically full pop on field. He's got 25 pop, 26 pop on field, all concentrated in this area, right? That's very good results from R+, right? So it's really important as a new player to remember, even if you lose a lot of bodies in R+ in your first engagement, if you can keep bringing on bodies and you can keep field position, field control, even if you lose the first minor engagement, if you win a secondary minor engagement and you have good field position, you still came out ahead, even though you lost more bodies, even if you're in lower KDR, especially if you're an allied player. Field position is so important as an allied player. The fact that even though he lost that first engagement pretty badly with those Panzergrens that were racking up 10, 11 kills, he decided to re-engage in the same area, pin Partisaneger down to this spot, and as a result, his team has got great field position, and he's got a secondary player coming on with a decent composition to support him as well. So this is a great R+ start. This is a fantastic R+ start by Rug. He lost a lot of bodies. He lost more bodies than his opponent, but he kept good field position. Not even good. This is excellent field position. He's got good central control. He's pulling back when he knows the second player is on because he doesn't want to risk the bodies now. So this is an almost perfect R+ start. Again, I feel like he had the ability to win that first engagement if he had used the grenades here on the G43 squad, and if the bar squad had come in on that first engagement. But he lost that first engagement, but he quickly called on. If you recall XC from our the first R+ review did, he lost his 7 pop of Bren carry and he never brought anything on to replace it. Rug, on the other hand, he lost those first couple of squads and he replaced them right away on spot using the advantage of the airborne column, bring them in right here and here. So he replaced them right away to re-engage in the same spot and keep field control. Even though he took more losses, he kept field control. And that's really, really good for an Allied team. So this is an excellent R+, and they're in a good position. I feel like the Allies right now are in a decent position to win this game, even though they're taking some losses with that great field control, and they can go either through a attrition strategy or a capping strategy to finish this up.